All right, guys. Nobody really asked for this, but I'm still gonna do it because I feel really passionate about it. This is my vinyl collection, not just this record. I'm gonna show you guys more records, but speaking of being passionate about stuff, I'm actually not quite passionate about this specific record. I was gifted to it by somebody who is no longer in my life, so that kind of sucks. It's brand new and it hasn't been opened, so if you want it, just I guess hit me up on Instagram or something. And yeah, I actually tried listening to it. I had never heard of the band nor the record, but I tried listening to it on Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and I really didn't like the music. So, I mean, I don't know. I want to be mean and say that that's why it was 25% off because it sucks, but I try not to judge art that harshly and say that something sucks because I don't like it when people criticize and judge art harshly, and then it's like, I mean, I know critics are supposed to exist and stuff, and it's all part of the community and culture of it, but it's like, why can't you make, then it's like, then you make something, you know what I mean? Usually people who hate on stuff are people who can't do it themselves, but I'm getting way too deep on that. But yeah, this album, I just have it in my collection for now. It's called From Human Like Forms by the Shadracks. Next in my collection is Jazz by Queen. This is a record that I do, in fact, appreciate and love. I need to listen to it more. If you don't know, their popular song called Fat Bottom Girls is on this record. And yeah, this album is pretty darn cool. This is Voluma by Leon Laregui. He is a wonderful Mexican artist whom I've been following for years now. Like, just following him in the sense that it not like following them on social media, but like just following his music and trying to see what he's up to, because he has a band called Zoe as well that's really really good, and it's just basically psychedelic slash alternative rock music that's in Spanish, and I think my favorites off this album would have to be all of them, because every song on here is just wonderful, and one day I would love to have an album of mine produced by Aiden Jodorowsky. So yeah, and those guys, Rob and Jack. This album is called Igor by Tyler the Creator, and very first time I listened to this on Apple Music, I listened to it when it dropped back in 2019, and it was actually my first, not my first time driving a car, but it was definitely the first car that I ever owned, and I was driving out in the mountains. Well, not in the not actually in the mountain. Like, I wasn't driving up a mountain. I was driving near the mountains, but I went out to drive by myself, and it was nighttime, and I was playing this album for the first time. I remember I hated it. I didn't really like it. Well, I didn't hate it, but I just didn't vibe with it that much. I was like, what's going on? Like, why does Tyler sound like this? And then I remembered that he had posted something about not like, he's like, this is not a hip hop album. This is not like this is just an album basically, and that's pretty much how I would describe it too. It's just its own thing, and it exists in Tyler's discography in a very, like, it's just like a highlight of his career, I think, and a huge shift in mentality and the way that he's producing his music now, and the way that he's approaching his sound. It's like almost like abrasive, but also super sweet, and yeah, just one of the, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums of all time. This is Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator again. This album came out 2 years before Igor, the last one that I just showed you. And if you're not familiar with Tyler the Creator, he has very jazz-driven chords in his music, and I think this album is a perfect example of that. There are a lot of, again, sweet-sounding songs with very, very gorgeous instrumentation, and the production on here is top-notch. Tyler really jumped from his last record. Before this one, he basically jumped from I don't know, an island from the city, I would say, like imagine a dirty, grimy city, and just like chaos and like just very chaotic energy. Like, let's say New York. I don't know, I've never been to New York, but it's because I'm thinking of like the movie Uncut Gems, right? Where like New York is portrayed as like super like anxiety, like there's like there's like tension and like grime and like grit. That's how his last album was before this one. And then when this came out, it's like he moved to Hawaii or some serene environment and just completely threw his fan base, like threw us off. Like I don't think anyone was expecting this album to be so, like, at this point it's just so iconic and recognizable, and a lot of popular songs. I remember him saying that he wanted to start writing pop songs that were more like catchy, and basically he wanted to prove that he's more than just a rapper. I don't know, to me he's like, he's not just a rapper, and I'm not saying that just being a rapper is bad or not, what's it called, there's no value in being just a rapper. But I just think that, if you can basically build your own world and live within it, and then show people that world, and then be confident with your sound, and just go all out, I mean, that's worth much more than you can possibly imagine. So Tyler really outdid himself on this one, and yeah, I'm so happy I have this in my collection. This album is called Morning Side by Phaser Days. Let me flip it over. Phaser Days is a great Australian musician, sorry, and she is named Amelia Murray, and I'm just seeing right here that it's mixed and mastered by Murray Fisher. I wonder if they're related. But I think this album is very, very special, and it's just so indie core, and like the vibes are so beautiful and luscious and just dreamy, and you should check this out for sure if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm so happy I have this in my collection as well. This is probably my favorite album of all time. I can't believe I have it in my collection, and in fact this is actually the very first album that I ever owned, and it's what started my obsession, even though I haven't really bought records lately in the past few years. But it's just, as everyone says, it's a super expensive hobby. But this album is called Modern Vampires of the City by Vampire Weekend. I remember showing this album to my dad and brother in the car one time, because I bought the CD as well, of course. And I was so excited and happy to show them, kind of like my world and my own taste in music. And they were not having it. They were just like, what is this? What? They were like basically laughing at me and like being like, why do you like this, and then it's like, because I don't know why I love this album so much. Like, everything about it is just super important to me and influential, and it'll live forever in my heart. And yeah, I mean that wouldn't be the first time that I get low key ridiculed for something that I like, because I remember showing my family the movie Little Miss Sunshine. I was like, hey guys, let's try something different for movie night. And just so you know, I don't think that's a very family friendly. Not that it's like vulgar or anything like that, but it's definitely super depressing. I'm not saying that this album, I'm not comparing it to this album, but I just thought of that. Well, just I'm just never gonna show my family things that I like anymore, because I was also super embarrassed of showing my family that movie, and it was just super depressing and dark, and it was like it's like a dark comedy, but it's like I don't know, it's just, I don't think it's an appropriate movie to watch with your family, because especially if your family isn't into indie films. I don't know. Here's another sleeved up album. I should probably get sleeves for the other albums, but this is an album called by Relient K, and they are a Christian rock group who no longer, I don't think they really play or write Christian music anymore, which I'm not mad about. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, they definitely shifted and wanted to stray away from that Christian pop punk genre. They've matured since this album. This album came out in 2004, so they were still kind of on that pop punk feel a little bit, but they were also, it's almost like they were literally in transition from sounding like they used to sounding how they sound now. And this is just the perfect, just an overall really well made album. And I remember listening to this on a CD that my cousin gave to me, and when I heard it, I was like, I need to literally, like, it was like one of those moments where you've kind of heard of the band for a while, and you kind of know about their songs, but there's that one album that like converts you into an official fan, you know. So this is definitely something that I will never sell or get rid of or even think about giving away, unless you give me $50 million. All right, we're nearing the end of my collection, but this next one is a collector's album of Stevie Wonder's songs in the key of life. I don't think I need to go too much into this, because most of you who are music fans will appreciate this album and will appreciate Wonder's music. And yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about it. This album has been universally adored by people of all shapes, colors, and sizes in this world. I mean, Isn't She Lovely is a classic. And there's even a bonus record of Something's Extra. Actually, sorry. Something. I'm dumb. Something's Extra is part of that normal album track list, but the bonus records are Saturn, Ebony Eyes, and All Day Sucker, Easygoing, Evening, My Mama's Call. And it's just cool to have, 1976. It's cool to have a Stevie Wonder album in your collection, especially one that's from 1976. So yeah. This is How Strange, but this is How Strange by Soft Glass. He's an independent artist who is not as popular as Stevie Wonder, for example, but these songs are special nonetheless and really hit a certain nerve in me. And yeah, I've always been supportive of this guy. His name's Joe Gonzalez, or Joao. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure his dad is a composer who does some really cool stuff. And I guess he also his son is also a great little talented bugger. And yeah, that cover's pretty dope. So I'm glad I have this in my collection as well. And last but not least, we have The Stranger by Billy Joel. This is an unopened album. I'm like afraid of opening it for some reason. I just don't want to open it. I don't know how to explain that feeling that I get of like, you don't want to open something because you don't want it to lose its value, even though that's dumb. If I actually want to listen to it, like, why own it if you're not going to use it? But I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who does this, right? But this album is very, very, very special. Like, this is such a perfect album to end on, because it's I bought it because I listened to Vienna in the car with my dad, and that was a song that my dad actually liked and appreciated, and we talked about it, and we talked about the lyrics in it, and we talked about life as well. And that was just such a special moment because you know, as an artist, sometimes I personally feel misunderstood by family, or I feel alienated because I feel different, and because of those feelings I feel like an outcast. And I don't know, this album gives me, like, the cover in itself is like, and then the title too, The Stranger, it's like, is he a stranger to himself? Is there a stranger in his life who means something to him? It's so many questions, and I know it's not that deep, and most of these songs are just, you know, pop rock songs and blah blah blah, whatever genre you want to call this album. I don't know, I honestly don't believe in genres anymore as much as I used to, but yeah, I just noticed that there's some boxing gloves right there. But yeah, this album is super sick. Moving Out, Anthony's song, is a highlight for me. Conversations at an Italian Restaurant, I think it's called. No, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Yeah, those two songs are so jazzy, I guess. I don't know, it just has some jazzy chords in it, some jazz tendencies that I never expected from Billy Joel. Maybe I haven't heard enough Billy Joel to really know whether or not he has a lot of jazz incorporated in his songs, but I'm just glad that I got this album because of Vienna. Like, it just made me a Billy Joel believer, and I pretty much got this because of that conversation I had with my dad, you know? So sorry if it sounded like I was about to start crying, but I do have more albums, or not more albums, but I have what's it called? I have one more album, but I don't know where it is. But it doesn't need to be talked about because it's another unopened one, and it's another one that was gifted to me by someone who's no longer in my life. So it's kind of like, literally every time I look at that album, I think of that person, and it's just, I don't know, I've genuinely been tempted to, oh, I'm like bleeding for some reason. It's so weird. I hate when I get random cuts, but I've been tempted to just like destroy that album, like literally just every time I see it I just want to like but I should probably sell it or give it away or something. But just so you know, it's the album is Who Cares by Rex Orange County. So if you want it, hit me up on Instagram. I will put it in my description. And yeah, that's my current vinyl collection. It has changed a little bit over the years because I've given some stuff away, or I've randomly collected stuff from random sources, and then I just give it away and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching.